I feel like we're having this deep call to strengthen the relationship with ourselves and find that like Guinevere goddess energy within. And I feel like a lot of us seek external validation from others and connection from others in order for us to feel worthy, in order for us to feel loved, in order for us to feel accepted. And I'm hearing this very strong message of, can you allow yourself to give yourself permission and validation that you are worthy, you are loved, and you accept yourself fully, deeply, completely, and unconditionally. So Guinevere, the goddess who's working with us, I'm really feeling that energy right now to help us to connect to the divine feminine. And let me just read, I'm going to start with Susan's question first. So let me read that. Ways to reignite feminine energy after multiple years of go career and single parenting masculine energy. It's time to boost the feminine and be in a more balanced energetic state. Yes. So one thing that came through for me with this question, and this is something that I've been personally working on for so long, and I'm giving myself permission to shift into, is it's like this feeling of, why do we think that we have to be go, on and on in order to feel worthy, in order to feel productive, in order to feel like we are enough? And I know for me that has stemmed from grandparents. And I remember hearing my grandparents being like, oh yes, like you have to work 9 to 5, and then you have to come home and you have to make dinner and you have to do everything for your family. And then you have to do this, and like, it was never, ever, ever spoken about, rest, just like lay down, let yourself just be, let yourself receive. It was always like, you have to. So before we dive into ways to reignite the feminine energy, ask yourself, why do I feel like I have to be productive in order to feel like I'm worthy? Why do I feel like I have to be on the go, and that, not forcing, but a little bit like that hustle mode in order to feel like I'm doing enough, I'm being enough, or I am enough? And ask yourself those questions and get to the root of where that may have came from. Because before we move on to ways to reignite, it's nice to acknowledge those feelings and sensations that you have, and any emotions that may be tied to why I feel like I have been living in and need to continue to live in this masculine go energy. And it's almost like I'm hearing, who do I need to prove myself to? Right? Like, who am I trying to prove myself to, or who do I need to prove myself to? And again, this is something I've been working on, and it has a lot to do with my North Node and all those things we were talking about recently. And I have always felt like I had to prove myself to anyone, to others, to just anyone. And it's like, who am I trying to prove? I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I already am. I already am enough. I already am amazing. I don't need to try. I don't need to be in this masculine energy, because that masculine energy has a lot of self-worth tied to it. And being in that flow of that masculine energy, it's like we're in this mindset of, I need to prove myself. I need to do this in order to prove myself. I need to be productive in order to prove myself, prove my worth. And it's like, can you give yourself permission to be like, fuck it. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I don't need to do this for anyone. I get to do this for me. And by making myself a priority, by creating the space for me, that's then allowing me to first nourish myself so that I can show up for others. Right? And it's like, when I was thinking about this question earlier, there's so much, guilt and shame tied to like laying down and doing quote unquote nothing. There's so much shame in resting, and a lot of it has the word laziness tied to it. And we feel like we need to work really, really hard, or like check something off our to-do list, or do all of our tasks, or like accomplish something, then we can lay down, then we can rest, then we can nourish ourselves. And it's like, why are we living that out? Why are we playing out that unrealistic way of being? You don't need to do anything. You don't need to accomplish anything. You don't need to achieve anything in order for you to lay down and rest. You can rest because you want to rest. You can rest because you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of receiving. And if you can allow yourself to shift that story around rest is lazy, rest is unproductive, I need to keep going in order to prove myself, it's like, by resting, I am receiving. And when I receive, I allow myself to re-energize. I allow myself to reinvigorate my motivation, my passion, my skills, my magic. When I keep going is when I burn out. And that's when my fire, my spark inside just like goes to shit. Like it's like a candle, you basically blow it out, and we're just working from this foundation of nothing. Right? We like burn ourselves out where that spark, that fire inside of us blew out. So it's really hard to show up then from the place that we want to show up from. And I think that's why we can feel so disconnected from our divine feminine and feminine energy, because we unknowingly like blew out that internal flame within to try to keep up or to try to prove our worth to others. And just allowing yourself to create the space to see that for what it is, to see maybe where that limiting belief or limiting decision came from. Again, that came from my grandparents. I remember growing up and hearing them. I can't remember what it was. I'd really have to sit with it. But I remember hearing something that I was like, oh my God, I cannot sit down. Like I have to keep going or I'm not enough. I'm not being enough. Right? So can you see maybe an area in your life where you were like 6, like I was, where you made that decision, I can't rest. I have to keep going in order to be X, Y, and Z, which perpetuated into a limiting belief that maybe having that masculine go energy all of a sudden defines our worth. And that's the foundation that we unknowingly built for ourselves. So can you discover that decision? See it, that it was just a story. It was never the truth. It was never your truth. And then create a new truth for yourself today, where receiving and resting and laying down is productive. Resting is nourishing for you, because by allowing yourself to rest, you can reignite or relight that internal flame within, which literally re-sparks all of your passion, all of your motivation, all of your energy, all of your magic, your soul gifts, your skills to come back and weave back into this essence and into this reality. So at any times when you feel like, I feel so unmotivated, I feel uninspired, I feel disconnected from my passions, ask yourself, are you in that hustle mode? Are you in that force go energy? Most likely we are. And can we come back to resting is productive, and rest is the number one thing that I need to nourish myself, to rebalance, and to ground back into who I am and who I came here to be. And I wrote down a few ways that actually help you connect to your divine feminine energy. And I wrote these down because I wanted to show you that you're actually already doing them. So you're connecting more to your divine feminine than you thought you were. Just the main thing is clearing out those decisions and beliefs around why you're in that go energy and why we feel like we need to prove ourselves to others, and shifting that first. So connecting to your divine feminine, we can do that through intuition, creativity, nurturing, tapping into your wisdom, sensuality, which we're going to talk about these, compassion, and then receptivity, which of course is allowing yourself to receive. So most of us are already on the journey of connecting to our intuition. And connecting to your intuition basically to me means you're allowing yourself to be led by your inner knowing, your higher self, and you're no longer seeking external validation from others, right? So you know when something comes your way, whether it's in your career, in your business, in your relationship, and you immediately, and this is okay, a lot of us like to process and have space held for us, but immediately we go to others. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm feeling both. I don't know. I'm feeling called in different directions. What should I do? And then we allow others to choose the path for us. We allow others to dictate, well, this sounds better, so this one will work better for you, right? And by doing that, we're disconnecting ourselves from divine feminine. So of course, let this space be held for you. Let yourself, like what I call it is word vomit, anything that you want to come your way with advice, with whatever it may be. Talk to someone, and then afterwards, come back to you. Come into your heart space, sit in meditation, lay the fark down in your bed, and just close your eyes and just feel into what pathway, whether it's A, B, or C, excites me the most, lights me up the most, and makes me feel the most happy, joyful, playful, and free. It doesn't matter how much wealth it's going to bring me. It doesn't matter how much X, Y, and Z it's going to bring me. If it lights me up and I feel joyful and happy, that's the path that I'm meant to take. And then other things like prosperity, abundance, wealth will come our way. We just have to first connect with what lights us up so that we can open ourselves up to a pathway that we necessarily wouldn't have chosen for ourselves because we thought it wouldn't result in a specific outcome. And that's allowing ourselves to kind of let go of controlling outcomes, let go of the path that we thought we were supposed to take because it looks the best on paper. It's going to bring in the most money. It's going to bring in the most whatever. Knowing that when you choose the path that brings you the most joy and happiness, that's when you can allow yourself to open up to receive prosperity, abundance, wealth that wants to support you. So that's connecting to your intuition, and truthfully, the way I resonate with that is connecting to your internal guidance and no longer seeking external guidance or external validation from anyone else. You can just be like, I am so fucking awesome. I am so worthy. I just validated myself. Like, I feel better just saying that now instead of waiting for someone else to tell me that. Right? I can tell myself that right now, and that immediately raises my vibration. I'm like, I'm amazing. So, and then the second one is creativity. So this is, as you know, really tapping into your sacral chakra, which is our womb wisdom. And womb wisdom has everything to do with divine feminine energy. So womb wisdom is just like, there's so much wisdom that lies in our womb. There's so much magic there, and there's so much creativity there. And the sacral chakra is all about creativity, fun, play, and sensuality. So to help yourself connect to divine feminine energy, what allows you to feel creative? And maybe it's going to like a craft store and buying one of those mandala coloring books, and maybe you just want to sit and color because you loved coloring when you were a kid, right? Like, what would feel really fun and creative and free for you? And maybe it's this weekend, I want to go buy some new plants or flowers and go make my garden pretty because right now it looks like it needs some rebirth done because it still has its thing from last year. Like, that's creative energy as well. And that invokes nature and earth and grounding energy. So what would feel really good for you to weave in creative energy? And maybe you want to sign up for a dance class that you've never done before. Maybe you want to sign up for like a photography class or something that allows you to learn something new. And then you take photos and you're like, ooh, this feels really artsy and creative. I love this. So invite yourself to schedule something creative. And then the third one is nurturing. So we nurture everyone, like in our household, at work, in our jobs. We are just natural nurturers. So when I say nurturing, how can you nurture yourself? And this is something we're going to talk about this weekend on Mother's Day, we're so used to mothering everyone. And honestly, whether you have a physical earthside baby or not, we just are so used to mothering everyone. So how can you mother yourself? How can you nurture yourself? What would feel really good for you to feel nurtured? And ask yourself, what do I need, mind, body, soul, in order to feel really nurtured? What would feel really good for me? So that's something to weave in to activate the divine feminine. And then wisdom. Wisdom is a huge one. And this connects back to like witchy energy, because the definition of a witch is innate wisdom, right? So what allows you to connect to your innate wisdom, your like higher self, your powers, your gifts? What allows you to come back into, I am so wise. I have done this before. I don't need to question myself. I don't need to doubt myself. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of imposter syndrome. Who am I? I am so wise. I am so innately wise. And what rituals or practices allow you to connect back to your own innate wisdom without questioning that and without questioning yourself? And then what else is here? Sensuality. Yes. So what would feel really good for you to be like, I'm sexy, I am sensual, and it feels really good. And even just this, like when I'm touching my chest, I'm like, that's sensual. A lot of the times, literally, and I know I do this on camera when we're talking about something, I always grab my boobs. Like I just do that. I don't know. And that's just a part of like, here we are. That's very like sensual to me. And I feel comfortable doing that. I'm sure before I did not tap into my sacral, I would never do that. I'd be like, oh my God, I just touched my boobs by accident. Who am I? I'm so silly. But now I'm like, yes, that feels good. And like doing that with your sacral chakra, just touching it, yes, that feels so good. And I know you can't see because I'm in a chair, but like moving your hips in figure eights or dancing. And one thing that you can do as a part of your morning rituals is put on a song that feels really, really good and just dance. Just dance. No one's looking, no one's watching. I'm going to dance. And when I dance, I'm going to touch my body and allow myself to just be free in doing so. And that feels really, really good. So that's something. Two things I want to add on there, which you may have heard before, these could be foreign concepts to you to activate the sacral, are Yoni eggs or Yoni steaming. And if you're not familiar with the word Yoni, that means vagina in Sanskrit. So Yoni. So a Yoni egg is like a crystal. I love that word. I love saying that more than vagine. So a Yoni egg is a crystal shaped like an egg, and you literally insert it up in your Yoni and you can go to sleep with it. And if you get a crystal that's like red for the root chakra or like orangey for sacral, then you know that you're getting the healing powers of the crystal right up in the source, right up in your Yoni, activating your sacral. And like this could be a weird concept. I have a Yoni egg and I think that they're fun to use. And it's like, why not? Just put it up there and let the crystals do the healing work. And then a Yoni steam is getting like a God, what are they called? I had these after birth that you use for like a sitz bath on the toilet. One of those things. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Plastic thing for a sitz bath. And you can literally buy herbs that are meant for a Yoni steam. I have these. I haven't done this post-birth yet, and I'm very excited. You have to plan around your cycle. So when you Yoni steam, you want to make sure you do it after your period. So that it can help to shed any excess, whatever, energy, whatever in your womb. And in that sitz bath, you can pour in like warm water. And then these herbs that you get, you can go on Amazon and literally type in Yoni steaming herbs. That's what I typed in. And then you put those herbs in the sitz bath and you just sit on it. And you let the warmth of the steam, so there's the Yoni steam, of the herbs go up in your Yoni, and the steam gets up there in your womb, in your uterus, and it helps to just shed or release any old excess lining or any old excess energy. So those are two fun things to help activate the sacral, the Yoni egg, and the Yoni steam. I cannot wait to hear about your experiences if you try them. And then we have compassion, which of course, allowing yourself to have compassion for others, which we do normally, but letting yourself having compassion for yourself. That is huge. And just giving yourself so much grace and compassion. Those two emotions and those two energies really help to activate the divine feminine within, because it's like, I love myself. And maybe I did something and normally I would have categorized that as like, damn it, I just fucked that up. And now it's like, no, I didn't. What happened, and it's okay. And I give myself grace and love and compassion, right? Like anything that we may have deemed in the past as a failure or as a mistake, we can now see it as just a learning lesson and space for us to grow. So something to think about there. And then the final one is receptivity. So allowing yourself to receive. Again, we give so much of ourselves to others. Can you create this space for yourself to receive? And I want you to challenge yourself to, you can do this on a weekend. Now, really challenging yourself would be taking a day off from work and having zero plans. This is something that I've been wanting to do for myself. Challenge yourself to take a day off from work, a sick day, a mental health day, whatever they call them, and have zero plans. No plans. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, I took off. Now I'm going to go to the dentist. Oh, now I have to do this. Now I have to like get my hair cut and I have to go to the dermatologist and whatever. Like, nothing planned, and allow yourself to receive. Maybe you want to lay in bed the entire day. And like right now, that sounds amazing. Years ago, I would have been like, what? I could never lay in bed all day. That's so lazy. That's so unproductive. It's not. We already nipped that in the butt. Can you allow yourself to take a half day or an entire day or a weekend day to have no plans and maybe lay in bed all day, or just go outside and sit and read a book and then go back inside and lay on the couch and then sit and read a book or paint or color or draw or do your Yoni egg or do your Yoni steaming, right? And just like, do not disturb, phone off. Can I allow myself to have at least a half day or a full day of nothing? And maybe the word nothing is off-putting. It's just like my day of receiving, my day of rest, right? Where I create that space and I don't make any plans. I don't feel like I have to show up for anyone or anything. All I get to do is show up for me. I think that would feel really, really good for us to plan a day in May Day, allowing yourself to receive. So again, whether that's a self-care Sunday, like maybe you want to hop on and do a yoga flow and then go lay down. Yeah, that sounds really nice actually. Or take a sick day or mental health day. Yes. So yeah, and it's just like, can I give myself permission to see rest as, it's like, it's a non-negotiable. Rest is a non-negotiable. Just like so many other things are, where it's like, okay, I have to show up for work, like, or I'm going to get fired. I have to show up for myself or I'm going to burn out. Rest is non-negotiable. And instead of saying I have to, I just did that as like an analogy. I get to show up for myself. I get to show up from this place of, this is what I need in order to feel balanced, grounded, nourished, and rejuvenated, and just activated in who I am. So yeah, divine feminine energy. And it's a practice, you guys. It's not like we're just going to be like, okay, I'm no longer in the masculine and I am divine feminine all the way I decided. Like, yes, commit to that and decide for yourself, but give yourself compassion and grace, because we're also like clearing away old beliefs and limiting decisions around our worth and around knowing and believing that we are enough. So it's a practice and it can take some time. So just leaning into that.